Back again with another stream. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream as well. Here we go. It's alright, the cat's watching the TV at the moment. Oi, Belle! Down. It's alright, Belle was watching the TV and she tried to... Well, but Ben Ghouls are very inquisitive, just to put it out there. It's normal.
First up is the purser's office on C deck, correct?
Correct. To access it, you'll need to head
Here we go. To let you guys know, I will be talking about the Titanic disaster and what
The
really
C deck
happened.
is pretty compressed from
Basically,
Yeah, the impact with the seafloor
there was a fire before Titanic left
with the rate of decay increasing.
Southampton.
It won't be long before it all collapses. I'm glad we had a chance to come down here and see it
There
for
was a
ourselves
fire.
before
I
all
think
this
there was
becomes
there was a
inaccessible.
fire in one of the. There was a fire in one of the boiler rooms, and
she was sinking fast then, and all of a sudden she lifted up quickly, and we could hear everything crack.
And
everything that was movable was going through her. And then she went down and seemed to come up.
She picked up first lot of passengers in Southampton about 12 noon on April the 10th. She left Southampton to a second stop of the main voyage, which was Cherbourg, France. And because Titanic was so big, she couldn't get into the where she was going to be docked, so they sent passengers out to Titanic to board the ship. And after that, about 12 noon that day, she went straight to Cherbourg, picked up the last lot of passengers in Cherbourg, and left about 12 noon for a maiden voyage to New York. But about
came across a lifeboat and they pulled me in.
And then so about let's try to think. And I think it was and passengers just enjoyed the staying, and Captain Smith was getting iceberg warnings throughout the maiden voyage, and so my conning room, the people who worked in the conning room, Jack Phillips and Harold Bride, continued working constantly. The day before the disaster, they lost communication altogether. They managed to fix it, and then after that, they just continued to send in messages. The next day, there was...
Be careful of debris when descending with the Predator. It might make it easier if you position
There was like
yourself so that
church
light
ceremonies
shines
that
down.
held as well.
Good idea.
And they just enjoyed it
Deploying
peacefully.
Predator, starting to
And
descend.
then they went back doing a thing. Basically doing walking around the ship and this, that and the other. And at some point I will talk about Titanic, Honor and Glory at some point. Talking about the projects, that and the other, but first I want to talk about the actual disaster. And on the day of the disaster, I think it was about at 11 at I think it was 10 o'clock at night, or somewhere past 10. Frederick Fleet No, it was Frederick Fleet and the other person took over as the watch, and they basically just hang on. What looked out for the iceberg? It was spotted about 11:39, and then Harold Bride phoned the bridge. It says iceberg right ahead, and then they tried to put around the iceberg, and they hit it. Depending on where you were on the ship, you would have felt something. You would have felt the Titanic hitting the iceberg. During the breakup, the windows basically broke, as you guys can tell, and that part of the ship I'm looking down, that's at the point where the ship broke in half, and they tried after that woke Captain Smith up. He says, "What was that?" He says, I think it was Murdoch said, "Iceberg, sir." Something like it. It says iceberg, and then they had to shut the watertight doors, and they stayed. Some of the people in some of the boiler rooms, the engineers stayed at their post until they kept the engines light to keep it going till the very last minute, and then Titanic had a final stop. Final stop. It wouldn't have been easy. It would have been terrifying, and it's alright, Leaf. It's alright, nothing to worry about. So so during the sinking. Hang on. That's nothing, just a postman. As you guys can probably tell by the dogs kicking off. And, hang on 1 minute. Heidi, shut up! I don't know if you guys could hear it, but Heidi was just kicking off along with Buddy. So, back to the video stream. What was else? And what was I at? Oh, something about Aya. So I remember now. It's just, and Captain Smith said Thomas Andrews to go and inspect for damage. Thomas Andrews went down to inspect the damage. Once he inspected the damage to see how bad it was, they didn't want any panic at this point. Because they didn't want the same thing. So they only had they ordered only women and children in lifeboats. Reason being, because they didn't have the same thing happening. What happened to the SS Atlantic happening to Titanic, with most of the women on Titanic, all the women went down with it. The SS Atlantic, but they didn't want that happening with Titanic, even though half of the women died down on Titanic, but they managed to save 712 people. And it got really chaotic at one point. So there was a mob of men, and I'll get to that point soon. And Thomas Andrews comes back to Smith and says how long she got left, and Captain Smith says how long she got left, and he says an hour or two at the most. At that point, I think Titanic's fate was sealed at that point, to be honest. She was going to founder one way or another after the hitting the iceberg. So they shut the watertight doors, and at that point, what was here? And then Captain Smith ordered to get the lifeboats prepared, and ordered women and children in the lifeboats. So that's exactly what they did. And they tried to like they got the lifeboats prepared, and then they started putting women and children in lifeboats. As Ida was about to go to the lifeboat, she expected her husband, which was Isidore, to follow. He wouldn't get in the lifeboats until women and children were seen to got into the lifeboats, and she refused to be departed from him, so they went down together. And so basically, I've heard one. They went down. I'll tell you a bit about Titanic as well. Basically, what I heard in James Cameron's Titanic, they went down they went into the cabin and went down with the ship, and like James Cameron's Titanic. I've heard something else recently I wanted to share with you guys to do with that similar sort of thing. From what I've heard, apparently they went onto one of the deck chairs, sat on one of the deck chairs, held hands, and decided to sit on the deck chairs, and that's the last spot they were seen, from what I've heard. Just to put it out there. Unless you guys want to double check. I know they went down together. This is from what I've heard. I've learned a lot about Titanic, and watching a lot of documentaries has really helped me out. Learning a lot about the ship. I think these walls would have been about like a white colour if I'm right. If you guys want to see what I mean, I do recommend you try it out. Titanic on a Glory demo for a while. That kind of explains what I mean. There would have been a bronze brown colour or white, like a white colour, something like that. And the front bow section of the ship started to go down, and the furniture inside the ship started shifting, started moving, and that. And then after that, I think, and then seconds, I think it was a while later, and you could hear, I probably could, because of how dark it was, I don't think you had literally, spotted the iceberg. The only point where you would spot the iceberg is when it's almost on top of you. If you guys check out the Titanic Case Closed documentary, I highly recommend it. I've seen it. My mum said she loved it as well. My mum watched it as well. She got emotional at one point. If you guys want to see why, I will tell you why. Basically, she says it was an emotional story, and the Californian, I think that's what it was the nearest to Titanic, and Titanic was sending off distress rockets, as you guys would know. They were, the distress rockets were coloured red, white. You get the idea. And because was the Californian's captain, they noticed there's a ship on the horizon, and he decided he didn't go to Titanic's aid, but the Californian was spotted by the Titanic and people on board, and Captain Smith, and they sent off distress rockets to get the Californians' attention, and so it was something else. And after that, I think it was just try to remember everything. And hang on. And so the distress call that Jack Phillips sent out was CQD, and he also sent out some stage SOS, which stands for Save Our Souls. If they hadn't done that, everybody would have died on that during that fateful night on the ship. They managed to save about 712 people, from what I've heard. They managed to save about 712 people. 1,496 people died that night. And it wasn't easy. I know it wouldn't have been easy. If you guys want to comment down in the chat, I do recommend it. So, so I'm just checking the... I'll be with you guys in a minute. I'm just going to put some music on.
Bluetooth mode pairing. Connected.
It needs to be heard. Tweet about it. Write about it anywhere you can. Tell people on the streets. Introducing Face. The world is at stake.
So we're going to play a trick on them.
Operation Mincemeat.
Hang on, you guys, the internet's playing up on me.
Brush it, roll it, pour it, seal it. You need it. Gorilla Waterproof Coat and Seal.
So guys, I'm back now. What was I was talking about? So during the sinking, passengers it got really chaotic at some stage, and And during the sinkings, the water started to go up and up and up, and so from the lower deck upwards, the passengers there, so and so did the chaos started. The passengers just like ran from the lower deck all the way upwards to boat deck to go on to get a spot on the lifeboats, and it really got chaotic at one point. The crew had to literally hold hands, form a circle to stop the passengers from the mob of men from threatening to jump in the lifeboats. And it really got chaotic at some stage, and it really wasn't easy. It just was not easy. And what's the I know what I'm doing. And so but basically just, and then the water spilt onto the deck of Titanic, and the Titanic started to go downwards as the first funnel fell over, then the second, and as the ship broke, the electric went out, and the first ship went down straight, and the back end of the ship started to go down into the water. As the ship finally disappeared, you could hear the screams of all the people that jumped off of the ship into the ocean, and it started to go quiet, and then I think it was Light Towler, I think it was that, yeah, I think it might have been that went back in through the sea of how, what's the polite word of it for it, corpses, if you know what I mean, to see if there was any people left alive, and he managed to save of people that was that was still alive at that stage, and managed to save those people. But I don't know how many few people he managed to save, unless you guys do. That was still left in the ocean, freezing to death. And 1,496 people died that night. If you guys missed the stream, I did the Titanic 110th anniversary stream. You guys can literally watch the repeat. It's available to watch on my YouTube channel at any time. If you guys want to share it, I do recommend it, as I talk a bit about the Titanic as well. After the Titanic sank, then they held some type of investigation type thing to see who was the real blame. And basically, during the sinking, basically from what I've heard, Bruce Ismay, I think, he did actually jump into the lifeboat. I told my mum that, and basically he said there was nobody around. This is what Bruce Ismay said, nobody else around, so he just jumped in, and he was, and I think it was that, because of that, he's been receiving bad, like, horrible, nasty messages on his grave. And I told my mum, basically, he just jumped into the lifeboat when any kids or females could have got into the ship that night. And she basically, after that, I think, after that, she changed her mind and started saying he shouldn't have. And any like kid, women or children could have got into the lifeboat at that point. To be honest with you. And 110 years later, Titanic story still fascinates a wide world of people, children, kids, adults. You get the idea. And also, Titanic Honor and Gloria recreated the entire ship as it appeared in 1912. I do recommend you checking out their recent stream if you guys haven't checked it out. They do a lot of amazing content. They do dev streams as well. They did an anniversary stream recently, and also so did Part-Time Explorer. And basically, if there is anything else, hang on. So just the music's fucking stopped. I don't want him, you pillock. Sorry, you guys will be with you in a minute. No, I don't want frickin'. And I think the people that survived would have been badly traumatized their entire life. I think they basically refused to talk about it. They just refused to talk about it because of how badly traumatized they were. It ain't easy. It would have been terrifying for them to literally go through that. Eva Hart basically survived with the mum, got into one of the many lifeboats that was lowered into the ocean that fateful night, and Eva Hart's dad didn't survive. He went down with it. Well, at least Eva Hart's with her dad now. That's all you have to think about. For a lot of you wondering what I'm playing, ambience music. I can tell you guys are probably wondering what ambience music. I'll be with you in a minute. Train ambience music, Polar Express. I listen to it a lot. I'm gonna turn it down. There we go, it's about that. And so, there's been expeditions to the Titanic shipwreck remains, and also Bob Ballard's the person that found it in 1985. My mum was about 13, 14 when Titanic was found.
Here we are.
And she was not she was only young back then.
Are on the starboard side.
I asked her how young were you how old were you when Titanic was found? She says, when was Titanic found? It says 1985.
Right, I'm here.
So she said she was about 13, 14.
Be careful. This area hasn't been explored before.
When the ship was found.
To think the last
I think
person
at
in this
that
room
point
was
James
Keith Butcher
Cameron
and
was
Michael.
working on, I think
The
it was
record book would have been kept in a leather
was working on a movie or something. He was working on a movie, so he's been.
I don't see it here.
James Cameron's been a director, I think, since the first movie ever directed. He's doing a great job of it as well. He's dived to the actual Titanic shipwreck as well. If you guys found this stream fascinating, you want to know more about Titanic, I do recommend you checking out the Titanic Honor and Glory videos on YouTube and subscribe to their YouTube channel. I do recommend it.
The doors are rusted shut.
You can't check
inside.
This has been a long stream.
Is the pouch among the debris?
No, I can't see the leather pouch anywhere.
Oh, no, I've got
You
to
might be
do
out of
now.
luck.
That's a shame.
We'll have to hope the Marconi room gives us some answers.
While we're here, we should collect a sample of the rust on the safe doors.
I'll
NCPA
do that now.
regularly check for new species
I'll
of
take a
bacteria
photograph of
living
the
in
scene too.
rusticles.
They'll need to
And
see
I'm
the
sure they'll
rusticle
want a sample
formations
of
as
this.
well. Done. We'd better move on to the Marconi room.
I'll mark it on your map. You'll need to head back to the sub to get there.
And I'm gonna go to the Ida and Isidore suite. This is Ida and Isidore's bed suite, and you can still, a lot of it still remains. The wood's starting to dissolve in this room, and this is the fireplace, still in great condition. Let's see if we can see what time it says. You could just about see the hand pointing to the, I think it was 4 or the... Our hand is a hand pointing to the there. You can just about see it. There's a hand pointing there. There's a wall about, I can tell really. That clock has stood in that position for 110 years, and it has not moved because it was, I think it was stapled to the top bit of the fireplace, I think. And there we go. Just going into the bedroom area of Ida and Isidore's bedroom. This is where they would have slept. That's the one bed where Ida or Isidore would have slept. There was a bed like this one there, and another bed about where this chair is, where the bundle of debris is. Would have been a bed about here where I'm looking, right where I'm stood. There would have been a bed here. And I'm gonna go back out of this cabin, back down to the one area. There we go, I'm just having a good look. I'm gonna go investigate down into the cabins now. Have a look at the cabins as well. And I will go down to D deck as well at some stage. It's alright, so I need the cat. There we go. There's the elevators. I'll go to Bruce Ismay's cabin at some stage. That's a nice cabin. There's the roofing, and that cabin's not in the brilliant condition. It's in a really bad state. There's debris everywhere, scattered throughout the entire remains of Titanic. And Titanic on a glory are doing a great job. They're still working on they're focusing on the ship at the moment. It does take quite a while to recreate the entire ship. That's basically what they're doing. They're recreating the entire ship for a video game. This is a good game. I do recommend it to you guys. This is good. So here we go, I'm just gonna... And wow. I'm gonna go to this room quickly, I just wanna have a good look. Oh, it's alright, just... Oh, look at this one. That door's wide open, so we can go down that way when we can. So, they tried to save as many people as they could. They fought so hard to save as many people as possible. They managed to save about 712 people. That cat's on form today, isn't she?
Yeah.
I will go down that route eventually. That's a nice room. Wow. To let you guys know, I'm going to make this into a video as well. Wow. I'm going to go to have a look at the remains of Bruce Ismay's cabin. Wow. Oh, hang on, just trying to go down this way. Hang on. Freaking itch. I'm gonna go and look at the cabins on this deck now. Wow. This is something. This is something. Wow. Oh no, to get past that exactly. That bit there anyway. This is a nice room. Everything in this room's mainly fallen over. That bunk bed's not in the best state. I'm gonna go down this way now. That's really a jacket off a crew, or maybe a passenger. You just never know. Wow. That's something, isn't it? That would have broken apart. When the front part of the ship went downwards, that most likely smacked off the bed, and that bit of the dresser broke apart from the rest of it. It's mainly probably what happened to that dresser. Well, most of them really. Some of them are still in great condition. I think most likely try to think. It's alright, I'm just trying to think. The squash court was down there somewhere. Whoa. I'm gonna go look in this room quickly. That's something, isn't it? That's another cabin as well. The bottom half of the bunk bed's absolutely covered, but the top part of the bunk bed's in great condition, considering how long it's been in the bottom of the ocean.
The Marconi room isn't too far from here, just between the first funnel and your current position.
How do I get in?
Either through the skylight or the corridors. Up to you which you feel is safer.
Right, I don't want to damage the wreck. Or the ROV.
They were used to... What was it? They were used to power the elevators, I think. One of the both. This is the last mission I'm doing before the end of the stream, you guys.
Oh man, really isn't much left here, is there?
No, not really. Furniture was wood, so it's almost all deteriorated.
There's a lot of debris on the ground, and a few broken canisters. Alright, just 3 canisters left to collect. 2 more to go. I'll grab the last one. Alright, I've got all the canisters.
This will be a video on YouTube as well. If you guys haven't already, subscribe and push the notification bell to be notified every time I upload on YouTube. If you guys have enjoyed this stream, love you all so much.
Alright, heading back
Peace
up
out.
now.